Two, one, two. Can people hear me now? Can people hear me now? 1, 2. I don't know what changed because my settings were all the same, but I unplugged and replugged in my microphone. And I need to wait for the chat to catch up. Okay, yay. Yay, fuck. What is it, 4th week? And I think it's the 3rd week in a row where we've had a mishap. But to be fair, it's a lot more complicated now because I was streaming to Twitch as well as YouTube. So I think that might have just been a loose connection in that one. So I need to get a new cable because I'm using the cheapest fucking cable with my microphone because I lost my mic. No, I didn't lose it. I broke the microphone cable. So happy days. We'll have to fix that. So how is everybody? Happy Friday evening for those of you in the UTC time zone, and happy afternoon for those of you in PST, EST, and whatever else exists. They're the only ones I really have access to in my head. And good morning to the Aussies at 9 o'clock. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like just if I got a cheap pair of headphones to monitor with at the same time, I would be able to, make sure that shit wasn't happening. So, what are we streaming about today? We're streaming about the Rocks Atheists. Oh, fuck. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting. And then we're going to follow that up with God Emperor Trump. Because I have got to claim that fucking title back. Not for myself personally, but for the fan community for which it actually belongs. And also, okay, everyone I've seen in chat, I don't think a single one of you likes anime. So listen and learn. So the final part, we're going to be looking at a movie called Kizumonogatari, which is based on a book series. And I'm going to try and be kind of fancy. And I've got some clips that I'm going to play during it. So it's going to kind of be like not like an edited video, but I'm going to try and do some scene transitions and stuff, and we'll see. No, Manda. It's all right. I've got a unique take, and I think you'll appreciate it. So it's fine. So yes, boy. So that's it. That's all the stuff I was doing. I was up late last night. I was writing out all my notes, and yeah, hopefully we'll see how this goes. So it's been good so far. Actually, the live streams have been going pretty well, I think. Or MathPig, if you haven't seen Kizumonogatari, you're going to want to see it after this. Anyway, so the live streams, the channel, it's all been going pretty well. I think particularly when I've been stretching out into subjects that are a little bit less specifically atheist, they've been getting some pretty good traction. So at the moment, the fastest growing video on my channel in the last 30 days has been the Dragon Ball Z one, which went out yesterday, which has been interesting. Comes with the disadvantage of getting more exposure on YouTube. I get dislikes. So if you do like any of the videos I put out, make sure to give it a thumbs up just to keep that balance into a happy position for me. No, it's all right. It's all right. I don't mind getting the dislikes. The dislikes means that it's reaching an audience that's not my audience, which is, you've got to do that to grow. So that's fine. This is 2 weeks beard, and MathBig, I shaved it specifically so I could grow it in straight. So it's getting shampooed every day. Then it gets a conditioner that's left in that's also got a soft hold, and then it gets oiled and brushed. So we'll see. I've got some photos with the old beard where it just sort of goes, brah. It's kind of like Dr. Robotnik. And I couldn't brush it down. I couldn't do anything with it, and it just looked horrible. So but we're trying to get it down, flush. It's going to be a fancy beard instead of a hobo beard. Is that PC? I hope so. So, yes, I think I was talking about Kizumonogatari and stuff. Anyway, it's fantastic. We'll see how we go. It's going to be a bit rough because I'm possibly being a bit too ambitious with how I want to go through it all. You'll notice in my background, my green screen is currently projecting scenes from Kizumonogatari because I'm a tryhard and a weeb, and I just thought I'd do that, so enjoy that. I will say that... sorry, just reading the hobo beard. I will say that when we do get into Kizumonogatari, because it's a thematic look at this show, technically it's spoilers, but it's a prequel, so anyone that would watch the series in order, I'm not spoiling anything that you don't find out before you are meant to watch it, but it does have some, it covers things on death and dying and stuff, so there will be a content warning that we'll get to, particularly just before we start looking at that as well, so... But hello, everyone. Look, if I miss saying hello to everyone in chat, I know a lot of streamers do that. Please forgive me. My eyesight is pretty bad. I think Manda has gotten to know that, watching me try to find an axe on Twitch. So it's very difficult for me to sort of follow everyone. Fun fact, actually, if anyone with low vision is ever looking at streaming, I've found the perfect hack, because one of the main reasons I've actually started streaming to Twitch as well as YouTube for these live streams is I'm piping the chat to Twitch because on Twitch I can actually use a program that makes the text huge, so I can actually read it, which is fucking fantastic. And all of a sudden things get sexual when Donna appears, apparently, in chat. At least that's what I've been able to follow so far. But first, we're going to get into Rocks Atheist. Now, disclaimer, I'm going to say some people are wrong, but I love people. I love these people. In the way that you can love people that are on Twitter that I don't really know in any personal sense, but sort of, see their takes on Twitter and stuff. And I thought about going through. Actually, no, let's do it. Let's bring up a Twitter feed. It occurred to me this morning that Twitter is not the my Twitter feed is not the safest place. To scroll live streams, because I follow some cosplayers. And see, there was this funny thing in 2016, 2017, a lot of cosplayers, they got very erotic very quickly, it felt like. So yeah, my Twitter has become a not safe for work type thing. So hopefully it's okay. I'm sure if we stick on this one thread full of atheists who are nice, prim, proper people, we won't see anything that can't be live streamed, and it will all be 100% safe for work. So cool. Now, again, disclaimer. I want to make this super clear because I'm going to scroll through a Twitter thread. It's going to have some names on it. It's going to have some people on it. This is not criticism of these people. It's not criticism of their position. This is me looking to discuss this idea. And the reason I would rather do it like this, where I can actually talk personally, is because text loses a lot of communication, and Twitter is so short that I think it causes people to feel antagonistic when they're not being antagonized, if you know what I mean. So that's what we're going to go for. So let's flick over to here now. Again, for fuck's sake, this is not me calling anyone out. This is me having a discussion, right? So if any of this shit gets back to any of these people, you're all fucking responsible, right? Right. So I'm not sure if this was the first tweet in the latest fucking Rocks Atheists discussion on fucking atheist Twitter. Actually, no, I think there was someone else that just tweeted Rocks are atheists, copy paste, right? I think that was the first tweet, at least the first one I saw. And I think Casey was responding to that. So for all you in the back, atheism is a belief position. One many atheists have deeply considered. It's not a lack of anything. No one or nothing that is unable to consider a belief position should be labelled an atheist. Full stop. Full stop. Discussion's over. That's it. That is the position. That's fine. That's fine. That's rational, right? That seems perfectly fair. Now this leads into take a fucking drink. Like, Donna, you said you're drunk. Thank God, because the fucking list of academic sources that prove that atheism is not just a lack of belief, but the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, right? Has anyone read this? Has anyone actually gone and read, like, when people drop these quotes here, atheist means the negation of theism, the denial of the existence of God. Like, I've gone to read this source because this is one of the most popular sources given by people that want to say that atheism is not just a absence of belief, but it is the act of not believing in God. This fucking dictionary acknowledges that colloquially, atheism is often used in that manner as a lack of theism. Anyway. Again, these things aren't wrong. These things are preferred usages, and I'm okay with that. So, oh wait, this isn't the whole thread. Oops. And so here we have the whole thread where, you know, people... Aaron Ra is the... What's the word? He's probably the staunchest defender of atheism being a lack of theism and being able to attribute that lack of theism to whatever object the discussion might be on. That's fine. So, like he seems to be the lightning rod around the people that would disagree with what Casey's put up the top. Oh, look, there's a disagreement. Cool. And see what I mean? On Twitter, these things sound pretty straight. Actually, what does GE say? I haven't seen GE. So Casey is saying that atheism is a position on a belief. You either do or do not accept that belief. She isn't saying that atheism is a belief. Yeah, so fair enough. Again, all of this is perfectly valid. I have no issue materially with the reasonableness of either side of this argument. Although clearly that this argument appears to occur so consistently in the atheist community. And it, like, obviously the people that are a bit more established and have pre-existing relationships with each other, I think they can get pretty, not tense, but they can argue pretty severely with each other and still maintain a friendship because of the context. But you sort of see in the fringe of some of these discussions where people actually get pretty angry and start blocking each other, which is pretty funny. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a video from Noel Plum on the matter, because Noel Plum, now I don't know Noel Plum personally. I watch some of his content. I don't watch all of his content. So I don't know if I'm... Anyway, he seems to me to be a pretty reasonable, down-to-earth guy. And I think his position on the Rocks being atheists, I think that's probably a good example of like steelmanning the position for people that are 100% Rocks cannot be atheists. So we're going to look at his video from 6 months ago, partly because it's funny, for reasons that'll become apparent, and partly because, like I said, I think it steelmans the position that Rocks cannot be atheists because of, you know, some various reasons that he gives. So let's go. This is not criticism of Noel Plum. This is me interacting with ideas. Please don't let this be seen as criticism. Why the fuck can't you hear him? What the fuck is going on? Oh my god. Shoot me. So I'm going to keep playing it, and then chat. Let me know when you can hear me. I don't know why you can't hear him, because it's crazy.
Is like, it's an argument that you could have, but it's not.
All right, I'm assuming that you started to be able to hear him at the end of that. If I get confirmation, because I think I'm about to quit using XSplit. I think that's what's going to happen here. Once that loads, holy shit, I'm meant to have fat pipe. How is this not loading properly? Am I going to have to start downloading every fucking video before I stream? Let's hit refresh.
What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new
cool.
under the sun.
All right.
Okay, so if you're a little bit confused
Take two.
as to why I'm kicking off an atheist channel with a quote from the Bible, from Ecclesiastes, it's because we're here again, folks. It's quite a good quote, that. It's quite a good book, actually. We are here again with our Rocks Atheists, and there's a certain amount of exasperation.
I agree with this energy. He's got the correct energy.
I made a video 7 years ago on this, why rocks are not atheists, and then another video which showed the level of exasperation. Then 5 years ago, Are Rocks Atheists 150th anniversary edition.
3 videos.
The title kind of says it all, really, doesn't it? But we're still there. We're still having this, what I think is a rather bizarre discussion, and I think it's bizarre because the argument that takes place is like, it's an argument that you could have, but it's not the main argument regarding the definition, which just seems to get ignored. Let me just set this up. So there's been a few people making videos on this, discussing it again. Aaron Ra responded to somebody who'd made a list of like top 10 ridiculous things people believe in nowadays, sort of thing, and one of them was that rocks are atheists, and he responded, well, rocks are atheists. So we're not moving on. There's nothing new under the sun, folks, so we're back here again. So I want to give you
So he's talking about something from 7 years ago. Well, this isn't from 7 years ago, but from it starting 7 years ago, and then him doing another video, and now doing a third video. This was 6 months ago. And now we're here again. Now, I've been hanging around you guys for, 2 years? And I'm already like, holy shit, like...
Iterate my position.
Let's get to the position. Here we go. Here's his position.
And that is, first off, that words are there to serve a purpose. And dictionaries don't tell us what words mean. Dictionaries describe the way that words are used, and that is effectively how we define words. Words are defined by their usage. And it's an interesting thing with regards to the word atheist, is that, let me quote you. I could give you a dozen dictionary definitions, but I'll quote from lexico.com, which is part now, it's like the free part of the umbrella of the Oxford Dictionaries, which of course produces the world famous Oxford English Dictionary, which extends to about the width of this room in its full edition. And this is how they define the term atheist: a person who disbelieves or lacks belief in the existence of God or gods. Now, what is interesting in that is that, let's not get into this business of whether it's a lack of belief or an active disbelief or whatever, is that there are two components to that definition. One of them is personhood, and one of them pertains to God belief. Okay, two components, and both those components need to be there, both personhood and a lack of belief or disbelief in God. Both of those need to be present, and yet these conversations seem to...
So here we sort of have where I think the discussions are pivoting around with the disconnect between what one side of the argument believes and what the other side of the argument believes, right? So you now have enough information to potentially guess what my position is going to be on the matter. So if this gets clipped into a YouTube video, leave a comment. Guess what my position is going to be. If you don't know, be honest. If you've seen me on Twitter or you've seen the live stream, don't fucking try to pretend, because we'll catch you.
Take place utterly.
You can guess in the chat
forgetting, too. As if part of that definition doesn't actually exist. It's as if, and I've given this example before, a non-Jew is a Gentile, right? But a rock isn't a Gentile, because a Gentile is a person who is not a Jew, right? It's the same thing here. You need to have both those components. On what grounds can anybody unilaterally declare, I'm going to have this discussion, I'm going to make my arguments, but I'm just going to ignore half of the definition?
Right. On what grounds can we unilaterally decide that rocks are atheists? What function of language allows? So, I've mentioned this probably several times, right? My background, one of my backgrounds in academia is communications, public relations, communications, public writing, a little bit of creative writing. Communications is my jam, right? So here's a bit of a slight communications nerd breakdown of how communication. Share the ass pic. What the fuck? Right. So let's use a tool from academia to understand communication and what happens. So, man, I should have got the diagrams. I should have done like a whole fucking lecture, right? When we communicate with each other, what we're doing is we're interacting with the text, signs, and symbolism that each of us understands to send a message that I hold within my head to put into your head. So I encode the ideas that I want to share with you using those symbols, and then I transmit that to you, whether that's through text, writing, singing, dancing, talking, YouTubing, gaming, whatever. And then you decode that information using your own understanding of those same signs and symbols and all that sort of stuff. So when we go, hey, what's a good example? Fuck it, let's stick with Rocks Atheist, right? Let's not let's not muddy the waters, right? So when someone says to me, when someone says rocks are atheists, what they're saying, right? The message that they're encoding to me is that theism by fiat is something that is made by mankind. It is a human aspect, a human attribute, and the very nature of religion is constructed and is I don't want to say fake because that's probably unfair, but it is wholly constructed and man-made. And so by using something that is inert and natural and potentially the most diametrically opposed thing that you can think of to a sentient, active human being a rock, and saying that they lack theism because it is not an intrinsic part of the thing that makes up our universe, in my worldview, that's what Rocks Are Atheists are saying, right? Rocks Are Atheists is a subversion. It is using language in a elastic sense to highlight just how much religion depends on humans for it to be a thing, and that without humans there is no theist, and so rocks are atheists. Like, God, that sounded better in my head, right? But this is what I don't get, is that, now, don't get me started on like the other side. So the people that are defending rocks are atheists, like, why the fuck do they keep going back to, well, the definition of atheist historically has been a lack of theism, so anything's a fucking atheist? Because I think that's the disconnect, is that the people that are defending the position are, I think they're right, but fuck me, they don't defend it correctly. I think the only defense of it is a linguistic tool used to highlight the absurdity in their mind of theism being thought of as a natural phenomenon that is discovered by humans. There we go. I found the words, I think. I found the words. Okay, never mind. So I was just trying to pass why Amanda's like, I can't believe I have to keep allowing the word atheist. Oh, is it being blocked? Shit, I'm not even watching the YouTube one, so I'm not seeing the moderation. Fuck. Anyway, so that's my position on it, right? That's it. That's pretty fucking easy. Now, do I think that the people that are saying, well, rocks can't be atheists because it's impractical, because it lacks meaning? So Noel Plum in this video, he goes on to tell us that, in census data, actually numbering the amount of atheists is accurate. Actually numbering the amount of atheists in an accurate manner is important. So if we counted rocks as atheists, all of a sudden and I think it's a little bit silly, but I think he's making a specific point that we need terms to remain as narrow as feasible to make sure they're as accurate as possible to convey the ideas that we want them to convey, and that's why he's sort of pushing back against the idea that rocks are atheists. But for me, I don't think that people that are going rocks are atheists are going, you know what, my phone's an atheist too, and we're going to be friends. Like, I don't think that's the intent. I think that's a really uncharitable position to argue with people that do hold that position and do make that argument, to then extrapolate that to all possible ways that atheism as a word, or atheist as a word, can be used, because it's being used contextually, it's being used with a linguistic tool that's meant to juxtapose between sentience and non-sentience, and show or demonstrate, or not demonstrate, but tell us clearly that sentience is the key part to theism. So yeah. Isn't the belief that there is no God, isn't that still a belief? See, Ox, that's I guess part of the core discussion that sort of underlies the Rocks Atheists, right? There are various people that will take different sides on whether or not having no belief in God is a belief position or not. To Steelman, so personally, I will say not believing in God is not a belief position. Like, my term for atheism, how I identify as an atheist, is I lack belief that a God exists. Now, that also depends on the God. So if we go back to the Christian God, I actively, it is a belief position of mine that God does not exist because of the inconsistencies in the Bible, because of the lack of personal experience that we experience as humans when we call out to this God who says that he wants a personal relationship with us, because of the lack of physical evidence from the historical events that are recorded in the Bible. That is a belief position that God does not exist. But the position of a God, well, I don't believe in a God, but I don't disbelieve that any God exists, because it's not coherent to sort of deny something that is as broad as the idea of a God when you're not limiting it to specific gods like Muslim gods, Hindu gods, Christian gods, whatever. That's what I'm sort of going off. So yeah, Ricardo, the point that people do push back with, saying that, you know, a belief position is a psychological position, and so that to assign belief positions to things that are not capable of psychological consideration of an idea is incoherent. But to me, the incoherence of this statement is intended by the person that is saying rocks are atheists. They're subverting your expectations. They're playing with language. They're being poetic, and like, I guess that's what frustrates me. Is that, to me, it's a poetic sentiment from someone that lacks belief in God, and they're making an artistic, I guess, argument, which I get it. We're skeptics here. We're skeptics. We're very accurate. We're very pedantic. We're very focused on science and facts and logics, and forget your feelings. But come on, there's got to be room for artistry. There's got to be room for feelings that are guided by rationality, by skepticism, by facts, by logic, all that sort of stuff. It is about 9:30. I started at 9 o'clock. I don't have access to a clock. Yeah, 9:30. That is correct. So I actually don't care which side a person falls on this argument. Like, I think both are rational, both are defensible. I know that people that fall on either side, some people on either side are very passionate about them being accurate and them being the most logical. But my concern, we're going to stop talking about atheists soon, it's fine. My concern is that there's just no room for people to be poetic in their language when talking about their identity as atheists or how they see atheism. And you know what? The people, even Aaron Ra, like, I don't think that he defends the position well, because I think he sort of falls back on the historical usage of the term atheism. I'm not saying he's right or wrong on that, because I'm completely unversed in the historical usage of the word atheism. I know that in the early Christian church that the word atheism or atheist was applied to Christians because they didn't believe in the correct gods and all this sort of stuff. But if I could say one thing, I think that anyone that has employed this was being passionate, was being emotional, was being artistic with their language. And please, can we be okay with that? Like, I'm not saying don't say, hey, I don't think that's the best way to say it, but please stop saying people are wrong for using expressions that I think are useful in context, because as much as like Noel Plum, he like I said, he goes on in the video, and I don't think we'll watch any more of the video because it sort of goes on a little bit too long. No, it doesn't go on too long. It's perfect. The video is perfect. Noel, if you do watch this, I just meant I would feel bad if I was showing too much of the video on my stream. But like, yeah, he goes on to say that necessarily this will lead to considering everyone atheists and treating them like atheists in all parts and all feasible ways that we might treat people as atheists. But please let people use language in a fun way. Would that be okay? I'm not seeing a lot of support in the chat, so I'm just going to shut up about it. That's fine. That's fine. It's all over. Anyway, that's my position on atheists. Are rocks. No, rocks are atheists. Sorry, not atheists are rocks. That'd be silly. I could disprove that immediately. Holy shit, I almost closed my streaming software because I'm an idiot. So yeah, that's that one. I'm going to have a drink of water. How did that go? Was that all right? I don't know. I was a lot more passionate about this on, I think, Thursday when it all happened. And then it sort of died really quickly, whereas last time this all came up, it went on for weeks. Weeks and weeks and weeks. So, yeah. So, look, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to look at God Emperor Trump. Now, those of you in the chat, if Chris is still here, he knows. What is God Emperor? Where does God Emperor come from? Oh, Math Pig, I hope I was nice to Nolan. Like I said, I really like him. I don't know him. I've never talked to him. And like I used his video because I thought it was a really good video. And I just sound like I'm sucking up. Anyway, God Emperor Trump. Let's go. This is old news. God, I don't know what... okay, funny story. The only reason I picked this, right, is if the thumbnail of this stream, I grabbed a picture from a convention where I was taking photos. Not professionally, just as a fucking amateur. And we've got a cosplayer here called Beck Cosplay, or Beck Cosplay's Forge. Or was it Armory? One of the two. And he does cosplay on the Warhammer 40,000 franchise. Yes, Atheist Pastor. I know the Corpse Emperor is not your favorite person, but that's all right. Anyway, so these cosplayers, they make these fucking amazing sci-fi cosplays of power armor based in this particular fandom. So what we're going to do, we're going to go across this, right? We're going to look at this because there are people that have both ironically and unironically labeled Trump as the God Emperor of mankind, right? And look, basically, I want to tell you why. I want to tell you what they're doing. I want to tell you why it's probably just as likely that you're seeing it being done ironically as you are seeing it done in earnest. It's one of those weird memes that has been picked up where it's equally a criticism and a, what do you call it? Endearment. I don't know the way. It's really fucking weird, man. It's really fucking weird. So 1 year ago, we'll bring this video up. 1 year ago in Italy. Was it 1 year? No, 2 years. Fuck, this is old news. 2 years ago, there was a float in an Italian parade, right? And the float depicted Donald Trump wearing this magnificent golden armor with a massive sword and with I forget the name of the We don't really need any sound on this because of this. So this is what a 40k looks like. Well, I mean, something from 40k anyway. Now, for people that are not aware of the Warhammer 40,000 universe at all, this is impressive, right? This is an imposing, majestic figure with Trump's head, wielding a massive sword. I forget the name of the claws. Not much of a fan, am I, if I forgot the claws. But let's skip through a little bit. Man, my internet's slow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I wonder if this is because I'm restreaming. Restreaming is meant to use the same amount of bandwidth as normal streaming. And normally when I stream, I've got no issues with YouTube. Well, it's a good thing the next segment is using stuff that I've all downloaded. So look, massive imposing figure. Now, we'll go into the lore a little bit more because I've got another video which is kind of funny of someone talking about this in particular. But basically this figure is he was the emperor of mankind. So all of mankind in the year 40,000, so quite a long time in the future. Well, he was the emperor of man in closer to 30,000 is when he started. And being a sci-fi universe, this is when all of mankind has spread across the universe, was cut off from Earth for thousands of years because of all these warp storms and stuff. And then this figure, the Emperor of Mankind, rises to power and decides he's going to unite humanity again. He's going to defeat the alien threat. And he's going to create the one great, massive empire of mankind to protect mankind from their many enemies. So that's what this figure is, right? So this is imposing, right? Fun fact, the sword apparently says... It was something about tariffs. As if, because Donald Trump was using tariffs to wage war. But this is a criticism, right? The artist who created this... Holy shit, my internet. Right, okay, so I'm going to have to start downloading videos before streams by the looks of it. This is as fast as internet gets in fucking Australia. I pay extra. I pay for the fattest of pipes. And this is what I get. That subtitle, it says it's a 3D fantasy video game. We're going to get to that. We're going to cover that. Look, right, fuck this. You've seen the statue. Oh, now it decides to play. You've seen the statue. Let's respond to this person. So we've got a YouTuber here. Oh, we do need a bit. The Amazing Lucas. Now, I don't know The Amazing Lucas. And by that, I mean, I'm not super familiar with his content or anything that he does. So I don't know what his... I don't know what his shtick is. So, yeah, we're not going to make any assumptions about his beliefs or his politics. We're just going to sort of look at what he says about this particular float.
Oh, my goodness. So I came across this in my feed, and many of you guys actually DM'd me and were like, yo, Lucas, check this out, check this out. Now, some of you guys are, well...
Chris, I've seen your streams. Your YouTube videos aren't always smooth either, so I don't think your internet's that much better.
Actually say most of you guys are a little confused about what exactly is being depicted in this scenario. And this all stems from a video game. Luckily for me...
No, it's not a video game. He's wrong. This whole video can be thrown out. It is not a fucking video game. Hang on. All right, I thought I had a figure to hand. I don't. I don't have the figures to hand. It's not a video game, right? So this is actually a tabletop game that's been going since the fucking 80s. You get little figures, you paint them, you put them on a table, you throw dice at your friends who have little figures on the table as well, and whoever knocks over as many miniatures as they can with those dice wins. That's basically what it is.
For me, I'm actually a gamer. I've actually played this game. The game is called Warhammer 40K.
I'm a gamer. I've played this game. Okay, I did look through his channel, and he posts about half of his videos are video game posts. Now, if you've played the fucking video games, I don't understand how you don't know that it's a tabletop game. Okay,
for you plebs out there, 40,000.
You plebs! Sorry, I need to let him play longer. Fucking hell. When I saw this video the first time, I lost it when he's like, I've played the video games. I understand. You plebs out there. I'm like, fuck, man. You got no fucking idea. I've been playing this shit back when I was fucking 13. Playing fucking Space Hulk board games.
Now, the character is the God Emperor. That's the character's name, essentially. He's the Emperor, the Savior of mankind. The blue people that you see in armor...
That's an Ultramarine. They're my people. Chris hates them, but they're my people.
Those aren't angels.
Wrong. They are angels. They're the angels of the Emperor. At least that's how they got seen by humanity when they first started appearing and uniting.
Those are called Space Marines.
Wrong! Well, I mean, technically not wrong. I'm just going to be pedantic here, and they're called Adeptus Astartes because Space Marines was not able to be trademarked by Games Workshop.
The Space Marines are sent out to conquer Mars.
Technically correct, but wrong. So if I was to tell you what Space Marines were for, they were not for conquering Mars. They were for the Great Crusade, and they would go to the furthest corners of the universe to find the civilizations of mankind that were lost to space, to unite all of humanity under one. Mars was the first fucking stop, but that's all. And yeah, Dark Angels, they're the real angels.
I'm telling you what's going on here. I'm just saying what's going on here. Now,
wrong. He's wrong.
You guys believe that this is supposed to be like praising Trump, like it's a good thing. Here's the thing. It's not.
Now, he's right here. So, I don't actually know the, what do you call it? I don't know the source of the God Emperor Trump memes. Chances are it was 4chan or 8chan or something like that. And frankly, I didn't want to stain my soul by digging through 4chan or 8chan posts to find the source. But he's about to tell us it's not praising Trump, but I think he's going to fuck it up.
Now, the reason why I say it's not in favor of Trump is not because I'm just, off the top of my head. It's because the artist, Fabrizio
yes,
Galli,
he gets it wrong. He
has
fucks
put
it
out
up.
some pretty harsh criticism of Trump. Like, he said that, the years of intellectuals, philosophers is dead, and that we're essentially living a video game. Like, this is where we at.
It's not a video game!
You kind of get that from looking at the...
No, Lucas.
If you see what's going on. On the right-hand side, from what it looks like that's Putin.
Watch the fucking eyes. The eyes move in this fucking float. Like, I actually don't know if I've seen a better float than this. Like, forget the subject matter. Like, this float is fucking amazing.
On his shoulder. Now, if you look at the sword, it says Dazi Vostri, which translates to your duties. But many have said that to play on words to Kazi Vostri, which is essentially your problem, like your business. That being on the sword, they see it as, criticism of the tariffs. Especially in that, it falls in line with what the artist has said, is how he's, threatening the world's economy and stuff like that. But here's the problem. Are you ready? The irony of this is that the float looks freaking badass. Like, I don't
You're
know
banned,
how.
Amanda.
I think this is the comical part.
I just saw
when,
the chat.
when people say the left doesn't know how to meme, this is live. This is proof of this. Like,
Wait,
what
no.
I'm gonna do, you know how I'm gonna get back.
You're an idiot.
You know how I'm gonna mock him and criticize him.
Yes.
I'm gonna do a float of him looking
float?
like a badass.
Okay. We've let him talk his shit enough, right? The reason why God Emperor Trump can be viewed as a very, very big criticism of Trump is because of who the God Emperor of Mankind actually is in the game. Not in the video games. I don't even think, right? I don't even think that the God Emperor features in any of the video games because he is not really active in 40k because he's dead, basically, right? He's on life support and he is preventing the demons from overrunning the Earth, which is called Terra in that universe. This is where I get to the point where I can't tell the difference between people that are using God Emperor Trump as satire and God Emperor Trump as endearment or praise for Trump, right? So God Emperor Trump. What is God Emperor Trump? No, not Trump. God Emperor of Mankind. Who is he? What is he, right? There's some really interesting lore videos on this. Now, for all you Star Wars fans out there, I hate to break it to you, but Warhammer 40,000 actually is the sci-fi universe that has the widest spanning and the arguably deepest lore in history, like absolutely ever. Like the amount of books, the amount of content, the amount of games, the amount of like just everything that gets written about this series that has been going on for a long, long time is just massive. One small part of that is what's called the Horus Heresy, which tells us how the God Emperor of Mankind fell. Now, before the fall and all that sort of stuff. I'm not going to bore you too much with this nerdy shit, so don't worry too much. But just to understand that what this man symbolizes in the game that he comes from, the tabletop game, not the video game. Basically, there are demons, right? Demons are going to fuck us up. And a bunch of shaman, I think they're in the Middle East. Or they in... Either that or they were North American Indians. I forget where. Sorry, my lore is not super great on the specifics of this. This is a very niche part of the 40k lore. But all these shamans, right, they would, when they die, they would reincarnate. And they found out that these shamans were actually dying and not reincarnating. And they figured out that it's because there were demons on the other side of the veil. And they were consuming the souls of the shamans before they could reincarnate. So all the shamans went, hey, fuck this shit. If we all kill ourselves at the same time, there'll be too many of us. They won't be able to consume us all. And we'll reincarnate into one being. And they did that. And they reincarnated into the God Emperor of mankind. So basically, they became this perfect, immortal, not all-powerful, but immensely powerful, knowledgeable, wise, single bastion of humanity. And this person, this occurred in like 2000 BC or something. Like this happened in our past. And he moved through history silently. And he is like the source of all of our things, like Jesus and Hercules, and I can't think of a third example. And he guided humanity through the ages from a hidden place until it became apparent that the threats in space, the aliens, so the orcs, the Eldar, which are like space elves, the Necrons, which are like undead robots, kind of like Terminators, and Chaos themselves, the demons, being a bit more violent and getting a bit more, nasty. He decided he had to reveal himself and unite humanity and basically create an empire that could stand against everything. So 40k, one of the big things about it is in the grim reaches of the dark future, there is only war, something like that. I fucked that up. I should have checked it before I started the stream. Now, the problem is, that sounds really noble, right? That sounds really heroic. That sounds like the hero. The God Emperor of mankind is our hero. Because he went out into space, he was like, fuck religion. Like, religion isn't real, gods aren't real, humanity needs to, like, rely on science. Like, that was his thing. It was called the truth. He was bringing the truth to all these different empires. So when they went out to humanity that was lost in space, they often had their own religions. And he basically, they had to give up religion. They had to stop their belief system, and they had to basically fall under the empire. They had to follow the God Emperor. And if they didn't, he killed them. If there was too much deviation from the human gene to Xenos genes, if they had interbred with other species, they died. If they were heretical in that they didn't follow the truth, they were killed. Entire planets were destroyed. Here's the dirty little secret, right? For the Warhammer 40k universe. There is no such thing as a good guy in the Warhammer 40k universe. There are just various types of arsehole. And the Imperium, the mankind, the God Emperor, they're the fascists. They're very much stylized off Rome, particularly the God Emperor himself. They are absolutely a criticism of fascistic behavior. Now, the cat is going to scratch at the door. So we'll let her in so she can wander around. So this is the thing, right? Like, now this is not a discussion on whether or not Trump's a fascist. This is just a discussion of a particular... And the cat just went straight fucking out. This is a discussion of what is intended when people call Trump the God Emperor. And equally, I think it is a criticism of Trump because they think he has fascistic tendencies, or people praising Trump because he's a big daddy Chad. Because the Emperor of Mankind's kind of like ultimate Chad. So let's listen to some more of this shit.
Him being the God Emperor, because the God Emperor is the savior of mankind.
He's a fascistic savior.
That's probably how Trump sees himself. You know, it's kind of like the Emperor has no clothes on. But to the majority of people who don't know anything about Warhammer 40k, that looks like a badass.
And that's right. That's perfectly 100% accurate. Is that the moniker I don't know? Like, the lore is so dense, and look, 40k is a niche. I can sit here and complain about all you fucking Star Wars fans as much as I want, but it's not going to change the fact that 40k, it's not even popular enough to have like a fucking blockbuster movie. Like, holy shit, how does it not have like we need the 40k cinematic universe. Like, that shit would be fucking lit. But the problem seems to be that most people that want to work with 40k, they think that people can't relate to Space Marines, and that's why it doesn't get made. Shits me so
That
much.
looks like the dude is the savior of mankind, and he has his army and his legion, protecting the world. That's what it looks like. Like if it stems from a meme, and the meme's in favor to Trump. So I'm like, you just.
We don't know that the meme's
so
in favor.
Stupid. Why are you so dumb?
I love that he talks down to us. Yeah, I know they're doing a show. It's Eisenhorn, isn't it? They're doing it based off one of the Inquisitors because at least he's a human, which is silly. Like, Space Marines are human. Like, I've read the fucking books. They get treated just like human characters. Just because they're fucking 7 foot tall or whatever doesn't mean I can't relate to fucking Logan. Logan, not Logan.
Like, I don't know how he thought this was gonna look, but like I get the whole with the Trump baby. Like, I get that's clear mockery. There's no way.
There's no ambiguity there.
Of misconstruing that any other way. Like, it's clearly, okay, Trump's a baby, he's a grown man acting like a baby. I get that. This is, like, I would want something like this. Fabrizio Gali, if you ever want to mock...
So, the artist 100% was mocking Trump. And the cat's back. That little... the artist 100%, the intent and his stated intent was to mock Trump. And, yeah... There's a bit of ambiguity there. I think the facial features could have been a bit more apparent that they are a mockery. Look, I wonder if it's just because it's 9 a.m. and I just don't have the bandwidth. And the YouTube video started from the start again. Cool. Captain Chad Sparrow. At least Jack Sparrow's an arsehole, so...
Trump. This is going to get him. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. This makes no sense to me. That's the irony of all this. What you put out for evil, you meant for harm, clearly it's being taken as a positive. Clearly it's seen as like, oh, they're pro-Trump.
Just for that. Take it back. Fucking take it back. Oh, she's back. What do you want? All right. I think the cat has ruined this segment. Did you say anything else?
It looks like you're praising him. I'm just saying. I'm gonna do a 50 billion thousand foot float. Spend all this money to criticize a man by having him look like a god emperor of the savior of mankind. Because that's what the person is. He's the savior of mankind. He's immortal. He's one of the smartest people alive. Yeah, I'm gonna depict him.
He's not alive. He's not alive. He's mostly dead.
As that character. As mockery, as satire. Wow, talk about full retard, people.
Oh, he went there. Shit. Oh.
Mind-blowing. Anyways, guys, that's a video. Let me know what you think. All right,
what do I think? I think this is a clear demonstration that if you're going to criticize a political figure, be fucking careful with what memes you use. Don't use 40k, please. Or if you're going to use 40k, use Chaos. Chaos are fuckwits. Magnus. We should have called him Magnus the Trump. Because he's conniving and fucking... Yeah, anyway. That was a coded attack at someone. All right. So that was God Emperor Trump. That was 40k. That was probably a bit more about being a nerdy 40k segment to sort of prove my point. And again, did I even finish what I was saying? The whole point of that was just to justify the fact that I used a 40k picture in the thumbnail. And the point I used that thumbnail was to reference heresy, which was me referencing the division in atheism about atheists are rocks. So that was a real stretch to get there, wasn't it? And really stretching to justify a thumbnail by putting in a 10-minute 20-minute segment. Get out! Don't attack me. All right. Come here. You're at least going to be on camera if you're going to fuck around, right? Look at her. She's fucking looking for trouble to get into. Look at the camera. Do you know what a camera is? Yeah, she's not impressed. All right, get out. Get out. Yeah, the Tau, Communist Tau, Comrade Taus, they will, maybe the Tyranids, I don't know. We will see. So, our final segment, again, this is really experimental, so hopefully it's interesting and stuff. I feel like I'm getting better at the streaming. I feel like I'm getting better at being a bit more engaging. So hopefully that's coming through. I appreciate any feedback, even if people want to DM it. If they don't want to put me on blast on Twitter or in the chat, that's fine. But any feedback would be fantastic. Everyone has permission to give me feedback. That would be great. So the next part. Fuck, I've got notes for the next part, don't I? We will just get everything ready. So the next part is on an anime, which I have referred to it as My Star Wars, and I say that in terms of the intellectual property with which I identify the most. Well, not identify, but whose themes and ideas are the most interesting to me. Because as much as I love 40k and I think it's like fantastic, it's not the sort of thing, like, it doesn't give me ideas that are interesting to wrestle with, you know? It just gives me fun stories and interesting characters. But what we're going to be looking at, and what you sort of see some scenes ripped from in the background here. So this is a series that is based on what's called in Japan light novels, which basically are novellas. I think they might be a little bit longer than a novella, but much, much shorter than a novel. So, like, you get those big, thick novels. You remember novels? You remember books? You remember paper? Remember bookstores? You get these long things full of words, and, like, they tell a story, and you don't have to click play, and you can't listen to it on your headphones. And yeah, I remember books. And yeah, these they're kind of like, if you think back to like the pulp fiction magazines that were popular in like the 19th, 20th century, where you had like all these authors that were like writing shortish stories or short stories and doing really crazy stuff and doing really experimental stuff. Light novels in Japan are kind of like that. You get a wide variety of themes, ideas, and subject matter. Half of them are based on video game worlds that characters get magically transported to, because fuck me, why be original? But this particular series that we're looking at, the first book was called Bakemonogatari, and that's probably the easiest thing to call the series, because unlike Naruto or One Piece, every season has a different name, more or less, because it's named after the books. So you've got Bakemonogatari, Nikomonogatari, Nisamonogatari, Awaremonogatari, Monogatari second season, Tsuki-monogatari. They've all got Monogatari in the name, which is Japanese for story. So if I said it's the Monogatari series, that's just saying it's the story series, and it's not super clear. But yeah, so what we're going to look at is this, right? Now, content warning. We're looking at the themes of this particular story. We're looking at the ideas that it talks about, and it does talk about death and sacrifice, and there's, I suppose technically there's blood in the background right now. So yes, there is a bit of blood. I've seen videos on YouTube that have these uploaded, so I presume it's okay. I didn't read the terms, like conditions, T's and C's, TOS, terms of service. That's what I was looking for. So if you're not in a headspace to sort of consider, dark topics, then maybe check out another video. Maybe go look at my Dragon Ball Z video, which is going great, and give it a like, because it's got 2 dislikes and only 7 likes. But yeah, we'll see how we go. I'm just delaying at the moment. Mama Atheist is in 2 places. I'm just delaying at the moment because I'm a little bit nervous about how smoothly I can get this to work, because I'm going to be needing to play clips and hopefully play them at the right time. And yeah, who the fuck knows how this is all going to go. So, who in the chat actually watches anime? Later, Chris. Thanks for dropping by, man. We need to go to view. List. Wait, no. Details. Look, already fucking it up. Jeez. I had already turned that off. What the hell? Right, I need to add to my go live list. Mute my phone. So I actually want to turn this into a proper YouTube video as well, which should be interesting because my most popular YouTube video to date is still BoJack Horseman, which is a look at the themes of one of the last episodes of BoJack Horseman as well. So, and it's dark too, because apparently dark things. Yeah, I'm a bit of a horror nerd as well, which kind of helps with liking the darker themes and stuff. So, hopefully that's all gonna be all good. Now, excuse any noise because I'm setting that up. So, Kizumonogatari. Now, I highly recommend watching this show for anyone that is interested in good storytelling. That's pretty broad, isn't it? No, this I think this is an anime that I probably couldn't recommend it to people that don't like anime as a whole. Not because it's bad, but because this is very, very much wrapped up in Japanese culture and anime culture. And it has a lot of stuff in it that is a reference to those tropes that exist in anime. So if you don't watch much anime stuff, there's stuff that may go to, like, you may not get what they're putting down, so to speak. But hey, look, I'll try and be your guide for this particular one. This movie stands alone. There's 3 movies in this, which sounds like a lot, but it's not like Lord of the Rings. It's in total, it's about 3 hours and 15 minutes for all 3 movies together, because the first 2 movies are 1 hour each, and the last one's about an hour and 20 minutes, and then there's the ending credits and stuff. So yeah, we'll go through that. Now, in this little journey that you're going to take with me, I'm going to leave out the sexual tension from the show, because YouTube hates sex but likes violence. That's fine. But the show does deal with, I think, personally, a responsible job. Like, it does a responsible job of looking at adolescence and sexual tension and yada, yada, yada. You'll notice that one of our characters, when we start looking at the show, is rather well endowed. And that's on purpose. So, and I'm actually not going to be in this when we play the clip, because there's subtitles and I don't want to block the subtitles. And we're going to look at it. So this story, brief overview to sort of help everyone get on the path as we go through this, is it's a story about relationships. Now, one of the things about this show, and one of the things actually I can't help but praise, is that this show is almost exclusively driven by conversations. Generally, when you watch a movie or read a story or play a game, the driving force behind that story, behind that narration, is action, right? It's going to the Death Star to blow it up. It's Indiana Jones going to the Temple of Doom. It's driven by set pieces and action. That's all right, Donna. You take over the chat as much as you want. That's good for my analytics. These stories, this entire series, is based on conversations. Entire episodes can just be characters talking to each other. Now, that sounds boring, but they talk in very, I think, high level, not high level, because that sounds pretentious. They talk about very interesting and dynamic topics about identity, about self, all this sort of stuff. So we're going to start off with this first conversation, because I think what I want to try and convey in this section is that this set of movies is about relationships and being close to people. And this is going to come to, this sets it up, right? This tells us exactly what the characters are feeling about relationships. Our main character, Araragi, who is he's going to be the man in this particular scene. He's talking to Hanekawa, who's currently on screen. And they're talking about friendship, right? Because Araragi, at this point, has no friends. So let's play. So isn't that interesting, right? I mean, we're not there yet. I'm just sort of interjecting because I just wanted to point out, when I was young, I wanted to write fiction, right? And I say I fell out of it. It was probably because I got distracted with the church, so I didn't really progress with that stuff. But I remember writing a book where I wanted it to be friendship as a weakness, because when your friends are caught by the bad guy, they can be used against you, and I'm going to be all edgy and a edgelord and dark and brooding and thoughtful because I'm a teenager. But this is, I think, where I want to point out that this show, in my opinion, this is where it distances itself from a lot of writing, because this, I think, is great writing. What is the answer? What makes friends our weaknesses? And I think the answer that this show gives is an interesting one, and it's relatable to me anyway, and it'd be interesting to see if it's relatable to any of you guys. So there it is. Like, this is probably one of the big tensions of the show, and this is the conversation that sets up the themes. Wait, what's happening? What do I decide? I've missed something in chat. I'm sorry. I'm going to carry on while chat catches up to me saying that. So, this sort of sets up the theme. So, Araragi, he's a loner. This is where he makes his first friend with Hanakawa. But he points out that to him, friends are a weakness. And the reason they're a weakness is because even though he would share in their happiness, he would share in their fun, at the same time, he would be envious and he'd be jealous. And that's something that I think, it kind of hits me, that like, being friends with people isn't just about this idealistic relationship where you just make each other happy. It's a balance of competing things where, you know, it's not always good. And that's something that we're going to get further into as we go deeper into this. So one of the things that I probably haven't made clear in this segment, which I did make clear in some of the tweets, this is a vampire story. So this is a story about vampires and vampirism, and we need to meet the vampire. So let's meet the vampire. The vampire is going to be next. This is the vampire character. Her name is Kishot. Well, her short name is Kishot. I won't go through her full name because it's massive. And this is their first meeting where she is broken. She has lost her limbs and she is about to die. And so this is the second main relationship. So the first relationship we establish in the series is Hanakawa and Araragi, and it's about having friends. The second relationship that we establish in this series is between Kishot the vampire and Araragi. Basically, she is there and she is calling for Araragi to give her his blood, all of his blood, so that she can survive, which would cause him to die. Now, he's terrified, rightfully so. Like, you see this sort of gory scene, and it is overwhelmingly horrific for him. And that's something that I like in it. Like, a lot of anime in particular, like, people sort of brush off these sort of horrific scenes because it's normalized to them. But ultimately, he decides to give her his blood. But let's see. So we're going to skip through a little bit because we're not just watching the movie, and I'm getting a bit self-indulgent here. So Araragi at first runs, but ultimately he does return. For that, it doesn't get any spicier than that. It's fine. So this is kind of the setup for the whole story. So we've seen the two initial interactions, and like that's actually predominantly what happens in the first movie. If you see in the background at some point, you might see Araragi burst into flames, and that's when he discovers he's a vampire. So despite the fact that she was originally going to kill him, she relents and instead turns him into a vampire, and that kind of sets up the whole premise of the movie. And that, you know, it's what makes it a vampire film instead of just a love story. Did something come up saying copyright on YouTube? Or are you asking if it was going to be copyright struck? Because I was hoping I was keeping it short enough. Shit. I see Twitch. Can anyone see me at all? Or is it just gone?